Welcome back to my YouTube channel LC Coins World. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating history of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar coin, a piece that stands as one of the most important milestones in modern United States coinage history. This coin was not only significant because of its design and its economic context, but also because it was the first time a real woman other than a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. The release of this coin marked a new era, and it carries a story that intertwines political progress, historical legacy, and the technical evolution of minting practices in the late 20th century. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced in 1979 as a replacement for the Eisenhower dollar, which was relatively large and not widely used in daily commerce. Congress authorized the new coin in 1978, intending to create a smaller dollar that would be easier to carry and more efficient to produce. The design was meant to honor Susan B. Anthony, a pivotal leader in the American women's suffrage movement whose tireless work played a crucial role in the eventual passage of the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote. Her legacy was one of relentless advocacy for equality, and her appearance on this coin was both a tribute and a statement of progress. The obverse of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar features a portrait of Susan B. Anthony designed by Frank Gasparro, the former chief engraver of the United States Mint. Gasparro based the portrait on a famous photograph of Anthony taken in the later years of her life. The inscription "Liberty" appears above her head with the phrase "In God We Trust" to the right, and the date 1979 at the bottom. The P. Mint mark indicating the Philadelphia Mint can be found just beside the portrait on the left side. The reverse of the coin features an adaptation of the Apollo 11 mission insignia originally used on the Eisenhower dollar. It shows an American bald eagle landing on the moon holding an olive branch in its talons, symbolizing peace. The Earth is shown in the background along with 13 stars representing the original colonies and the inscriptions "United States of America" and $1. The size and composition of the coin were significantly different from the previous Eisenhower dollar. The Anthony dollar measured 26.5 millimeters in diameter and was made of a copper nickel-clad composition, the same material used in quarters and dimes at the time. The coin's smaller size and metallic color unfortunately made it easy to confuse with the quarter dollar, which ultimately led to the coin's lack of popularity in circulation. Despite its historical significance, the coin did not gain widespread acceptance among the American public, and the initial production run in 1979 saw relatively short use in commerce before the coin was eventually withdrawn from general circulation. The 1979 issue saw several varieties which are of particular interest to collectors. The most well-known of these is the wide rim or near-date variety, in which the rim of the coin is noticeably thicker and the date appears closer to the edge than in the more common narrow rim variety. The wide rim variety is scarcer and typically commands a premium in the numismatic market. Even in circulated grades, collectors also seek high-grade examples of the 1979 dollar in mint state, especially those with full luster, strong strike, and minimal contact marks. Coins graded MS66 or higher by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC can be quite valuable, especially if they are certified as the wide rim variety. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 360 million of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars, making it one of the most heavily struck issues of the series. However, the overall number of coins that remain in pristine condition is much smaller, and this scarcity in high grades is part of what drives collector interest. The coin was also included In 1979, mint sets and proof sets issued by the United States Mint, which have become popular sources for obtaining well-preserved examples. In the broader historical context, the release of the Susan B. Anthony dollar coincided with a period of economic uncertainty in the United States. Inflation was high and there was a growing need for coins that could help improve efficiency in coinage and reduce reliance on paper $1 bills. The hope was that a smaller, more durable dollar coin would be accepted in vending machines, mass transit systems, and other commercial applications. However, due to its similarity to the quarter and lack of public enthusiasm, the Anthony dollar never achieved the widespread usage that the mint had envisioned, and production was halted in 1981. With a brief resurgence in 1999 to meet a temporary demand before the introduction of the Sacagawea dollar in 2000. Despite its commercial failure, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar remains a symbol of progress and change. It opened the door for future dollar coins that would continue to honor diverse figures in American history. It also represented a pivotal moment in numismatic design as it departed from traditional allegorical minting process used to produce these coins in 1979, and the various varieties and eras that make certain pieces especially valuable today. We will also discuss the role of the Philadelphia Mint in the production of the 1979 issue, and the overall significance of this coin in the context of United States history. So whether you are a long-time numismatist or just getting started in coin collecting, this is a coin you need to understand. Its story is rich with political, cultural, and economic significance, and it continues to influence the way we think about coin design and representation to this day. Stay tuned and join us for a deep dive into the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar coin, only here on LC Coins World, where history lives in your pocket. Today, we are diving into the long and fascinating history of the 1970 Canada 1 cent coin, a piece of Canadian numismatic heritage that reflects not only the evolution of coinage in Canada but also the broader socio-economic and political landscape of the country during the 20th century. The 1970 Canadian cent might seem like a small copper coin at first glance, but it holds a story that spans over a century of design changes, national identity, and economic strategy. The 1 cent coin in Canada has been an essential part of the country's currency system since Confederation in 1867, and the version minted in 1970 represents the last of the small date style, which makes it a key interest to collectors, especially those who appreciate the transition periods in coin production. The 1971 cent coin was minted at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa and was part of a long line of cents bearing the image of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic maple leaf design on the reverse. The obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth was designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor, whose depiction of the young queen was used on Canadian coins from 1965 until 1989. The image shows the queen facing right, wearing a tiara, and the inscription in Latin reads, Elizabeth to DG Regina, which translates to Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen. This portrait was intended to project youth and stability, and was considered a modern update to the earlier versions that appeared on Canadian coins since 1953. The reverse of the 1970 Canada 1 cent coin features the famous two maple leaves on a single twig designed by G. E. Kruger Gray in 1937. This design had become a symbol of Canada itself. The maple leaf is a long recognized emblem of the country, and its presence on the cent represents national pride, natural beauty, and a connection to the land. The denomination 1 cent appears on the reverse along with the word Canada and the date 1970 below the design. The initials KG of the designer are placed just below the maple leaf. One of the interesting aspects of the 1970 Canadian cent is the difference in varieties that exist from this year, particularly the small date and large date types. Although the small date is the more common of the two, it has remained a topic of discussion among numismatists due to its subtle difference in numeral styling when compared to the large date, which is significantly rarer. Collectors often seek both types to complete their sets, and over the years coins in high mint state condition have become increasingly desirable among enthusiasts. From a minting standpoint, the 1970 Canada 1-cent coin was struck in bronze, which was the standard composition for cents from 1965 until 1996. This bronze alloy consisted of 98% copper, 0.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc, which gave the coin its classic reddish hue. The diameter of the coin was 1905 millimeters and its weight was 3.24 grams. The coin featured a plain edge and was produced using traditional. The 1970 Canada cent marks a key point in the timeline of Canadian coins because it came during a decade of major change in Canadian coinage policy, including the gradual phasing out of silver in circulating coinage and the introduction of new denominations and designs. It was also a time when the cent remained relevant in everyday transactions, and thus the mint produced them in large quantities. Over 344 million 1-cent coins were struck in 1970 alone, and although many were used in circulation, a good number were preserved by collectors due to the coin's design consistency and symbolism. In terms of value, the 1970 Canadian cent in circulated condition is relatively common, but its value increases significantly in higher grades, especially for coins that are uncirculated or certified by professional grading services. Coins graded MS-65 or higher can fetch notable premiums, and full red examples with original luster are especially sought after by collectors who focus on Canadian decimal coinage. Errors and varieties are another area of interest, with some 1970 cents known to have been struck slightly off-center or with die cracks, which adds another layer of intrigue and potential value to specific specimens. Beyond its numismatic importance, the 1970 Canadian 1-cent coin also serves as a cultural and historical artifact that reflects Canadian identity during a dynamic era. Canada in the early 1970s was redefining its position in the world, and the coinage from that time reflects a mixture of tradition and modernity as it preserved historical design elements while also embracing newer production technologies and economic strategies that would eventually lead to significant changes in the monetary system, including the eventual removal of the cent from circulation in 2012. In this 2-hour video, we will explore every aspect of the 1970 Canada 1-cent coin, including the production process at the Royal Canadian Mint, the background of the designers and engravers who contributed to the coins, look the various die varieties and striking errors that exist, and how these coins are evaluated in the modern numismatic market. We will also dive into comparisons between the small date and large date variants and discuss how these subtle details affect rarity and collector interest. We will examine population reports from grading companies, historical pricing trends, and auction results to paint a complete picture of the coin's value and appeal. So whether you are an experienced numismatist, a Canadian history enthusiast, or someone just beginning your coin collecting journey, this video will offer you a comprehensive deep dive into the 1970 Canada 1-cent coin and its place in the grand tapestry of numismatic history. Stay tuned and enjoy this full-length exploration only here on LC Coins World, where coins tell the story of nations past, present, and future. The composition of the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was the standard composition for pennies from 1909 to 1982, with the exception of the steel cents produced in 1943. Due to wartime shortages, the weight of the coin is 3.11 grams and its diameter is 19.05 millimeters, making it consistent with other Lincoln wheat pennies produced during this time period. The edge of the coin is smooth with no reading. The 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny had a massive mintage with a total of 1,051,342,000 coins struck at the Denver Mint. This high production number makes it a relatively common coin, and, as a result, most circulated examples are only worth a few cents. However, high-grade examples, particularly those with full red luster and no significant marks, can be quite valuable, especially in mint state 67 and higher, where the rarity increases significantly despite the high mintage. Even though the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny is common, there are several varieties and errors that make certain examples more valuable to collectors. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, which occurs when the die strikes the coin twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the inscriptions such as "Liberty, in God We Trust," or the date. While the 1957 D penny does not have as many dramatic double die varieties as some earlier years, there are still some minor double dies that collectors look for. Another interesting variety is the repunched mintmark, also known as RPM. This occurs when the D mintmark was struck multiple times in slightly different positions before the final strike, creating a doubled or sometimes even tripled mintmark effect. Additionally, some coins exhibit B die break errors, which appear as a small vertical line between the B and E in Liberty caused by a die crack. Other errors include off-center strikes where the design is shifted due to improper die alignment, and cud errors where part of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. When it comes to grading the condition of a 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny plays a significant role in its value. Circulated coins in grades G4 to VF30 are worth between 3 to 10 cents each, while those in higher circulated grades can fetch slightly more. In uncirculated condition, the value increases dramatically. MS60 to MS62 coins typically sell for around 50 cents to $1. MS63 red examples can be worth between $3 and $5. MS65 red examples are often valued at $15 to $30. MS66 red coins start to become rare and can fetch between $80 and $150. MS67 red coins are extremely rare and can sell for over $2,000 depending on the market demand and appeal. One of the reasons why the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny remains popular among collectors is its accessibility. This coin is easy to find in circulated condition, making it an excellent starting point for new collectors who want to own a piece of history without spending a lot of money at the same time. High-grade examples and rare errors provide advanced collectors with exciting opportunities to add valuable pieces to their collections. Additionally, the coin's status as one of the last wheat pennies makes it historically significant. The transition from the wheat penny to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959 marked the end of an era, and owning a late-date wheat penny like the 1957 D is a way to connect with that history. Beyond its numismatic value, the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny serves as a reminder of the United States during the late 1950s, as it was a time of optimism, economic growth, and cultural change. The country was experiencing the early stages of the space race, suburban expansion, and the rise of television as a dominant form of entertainment. Coins from this era, including the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny, circulated in the pockets of Americans who witnessed these changes firsthand, for collectors who enjoy searching for hidden treasures. In coin rolls or bulk lots, the 1957 D penny is a great candidate. Since billions were minted, it is possible to find and searched rolls where high-grade examples or rare errors might be hiding. Many collectors enjoy the thrill of roll hunting, looking through thousands of pennies in search of that one elusive double-die repunched mint mark or off-center strike. In conclusion, the 1957 D Lincoln Wheat penny is a fascinating coin with a rich history. Its status as one of the last wheat pennies makes it an important piece of numismatic heritage. The massive mintage makes it widely available, yet there are still rare and valuable varieties that attract serious collectors. Whether you are just starting your collection or you are an advanced collector searching for high-grade specimens, this coin has something to offer. Its connection to American history, its classic design, and its potential for rare errors and varieties all contribute to its enduring appeal. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1957 D Lincoln Wheat penny, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more coin history videos here on LC Coins World. Stay tuned for more fascinating numismatic content. We are going to explore the complete history of the 1984 D quarter dollar, one of the most widely circulated coins in the United States and part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 as a tribute to George Washington, the first President of the United States, whose leadership in the American Revolution and his role in shaping the early government of the country has made him a permanent symbol of national unity, strength, and perseverance. The Washington Quarter was first issued to commemorate his 200th birthday, and it became so well accepted that the design by sculptor John Flanagan was kept as the standard for decades. The 1984 quarter is a continuation of that legacy, and the D mint mark located to the right of Washington's ponytail signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint, which was one of the primary producers of circulating coinage for the western part of the United States at the time. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing bust of George Washington with the word Liberty across the top, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the year 1984 at the bottom, which frame the coin with traditional American values and national pride. The reverse features the heraldic eagle design, where a bold eagle with wings spread is perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing readiness for war and the desire for peace, which were core ideas during the Cold War era of the 1980s. This image also communicates federal strength and stability, which are key messages conveyed by U.S. coinage. This quarter is composed of a copper nickel clad with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper and nickel, which gives it a silver-like appearance, while being less costly to produce and durable in long-term circulation. It measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter and weighs 5.67 grams. A reeded edge that deters clipping and provides tactile familiarity for blind and visually impaired users. In this documentary, we will go deep into the numismatic background of the Washington Quarter, including its original authorization by Congress, the design selection process, and how the portrait of Washington was adapted from the famous bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, which was considered one of the most accurate depictions of the president. We will look at the economic and social conditions of the United States in 1984, including the Reagan-era policies, the rise of consumer culture, growing technological advancement, and an expanding middle class, which all contributed to an increased demand for hard currency, including quarters, which were used daily in vending machines, laundromats, phone booths, toll roads, parking meters, and public transportation systems across the country. We will take you inside the Denver Mint to understand the high-speed coin production process that includes blanking, annealing, upsetting, striking, and inspecting using massive coin presses that produce hundreds of coins per minute with precision and efficiency. We will also examine how coins are sorted, bagged, and distributed through the Federal Reserve Bank system and into commercial banks and ultimately the hands of the public. This documentary will feature expert interviews with coin collectors, numismatists, historians, mint engineers, and economic analysts who will share their perspectives on the 1984 quarter from both a technical and historical point of view. We will look into notable eras and varieties associated with this year, such as double die obverse die cracks, off-center strikes, and clip plankets, which can significantly increase the value of the coin to collectors, and we will show how to recognize these features. With side-by-side examples and grading comparisons, we will explore the mintages of this year, including how many were produced and how that compares to other years in the series, as well as how the quantity and quality of the strike impacts the rarity and market demand today. We will also guide you through the steps of coin grading from uncirculated to heavily circulated, explaining how luster strike details, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal contribute to a coin's grade, and we will show you the tools and techniques used by professionals to grade and evaluate coins, including magnification, lighting, and certification options from third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC. We will provide a market overview showing how the value of the 1984 quarter has changed over time, what factors influence pricing, and how to buy, sell, and store coins effectively. We will also connect this coin to broader historical themes such as the role of coinage in shaping national identity, the symbolism embedded in everyday objects, and the educational value of collecting coins to preserve and share history. We will close by looking at how the Washington Quarter series evolved into the composition of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. Is primarily bronze, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This traditional composition was reinstated after a brief change in 1943 when the United States Mint produced pennies out of zinc-coated steel due to copper shortages during the war. By 1944, however, the need for steel pennies diminished and the mint returned to the bronze alloy for cent production. Some transitional eras from this period are highly sought after by collectors, though they are rare and mostly seen in the 1943 and 1944 issues rather than 1945. One key to understanding the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is recognizing the context of its production. The nation was at the height of industrial output and morale was bolstered by victories in Europe and the Pacific. Coins circulated rapidly, helping fuel the booming economy at home. Mint workers were under pressure to produce massive quantities of coins, and this sometimes resulted in coins with weak strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, and other minor errors, which today offer fascinating study opportunities for era collectors. The standard 1945 penny is common in circulated grades, but finding one in mint state, particularly with a full sharp strike and bright original red coloration, is far less easy, and these high-grade examples can command significant premiums. As for values, the typical circulated 1945 Lincoln wheat penny holds modest value, but pristine examples, especially those graded MS66 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, are highly coveted. Red designation coins, meaning those retaining their original coppery red luster, are especially valuable compared to brown or red-brown examples. In fact, a superb gem 1945 penny with full mint red surfaces can sell for several $100s or more at major auctions, depending on its eye appeal and strike quality. Meanwhile, varieties such as double dies, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks from the 1945 issue can further enhance value and collector interest. Throughout this 2-hour exploration, We will also cover the details of coin grading and how collectors can differentiate between the red, brown, and brown designations for the 1945 wheat penny. We will talk about historical events from 1945 and how they influenced coin collecting in America, including the end of World War to the beginning of the baby boom and the changes in American culture that made coin collecting a mainstream hobby. We will review how minting technology of the 1940s affected coin quality and consistency. We will also discuss the modern market for the 1945 wheat penny, including recent auction results, demand trends, and investment potential for collectors who seek historical coins with stable long-term value.